including our next guest, who has visited all 99 counties in the state. I'm not going to ask him for his favorite, but he's got one probably ahead of today's hurdle. And join us right now on this very busy day here in Iowa, the governor of the great state of Florida, Ron DeSantis. Governor, good morning to you.
Well, one thing we did do is they have in Iowa the actual baseball field that was used on Field of Dreams.
Right.
So you can go so we did an event there over the summer. You got the corn for the outfield fence. I had all my kids there running the bases and doing everything. So, that's just something that I saw as a kid when that movie came out. And then to be there, you're there. And, you actually can rent the Kevin Costner house.
I know.
People can stay there. So it's a pretty neat thing.
Well, and one of the lines from that, Governor, is Shoeless Joe Jackson comes out and says, "Is this heaven?" And Kevin Costner says, "No, it's Iowa." Somebody coming out today would go, "Is this heaven?" And they'll go, "No, this is the North Pole."
Well, that's exactly right. My son, when we first started showing him the movie, he was with the corn, we're playing baseball, and he said, "Daddy, is this heaven?" I said, "No, son, it's Iowa." Now I asked him, I said, "Mason, is this heaven?" He's like, "No, Dad, it's Iowa, and it's cold," so they know.
It is, and that's a problem. Because, and I know you've worked 4 months, you've got the best ground game in Iowa, without a doubt. You've got all these caucus captains, you've got people who are lined up to speak on your behalf, and then Mother Nature throws you a wrench.
Well, that's the thing. When you have the organization, we've worked to build support. Our organization knows all these people. I mean, you're talking about tens of thousands of people over the course of the 6 months that are committed, ready to go. Then there's others that are very likely to go. So if people need help, we'll spring into action and we'll be there. But a caucus, even without the weather, is a process. It's not the same as just filling out a ballot and doing it. So we recognize that from the beginning. It does require a certain amount of motivation. And I think the good thing is our folks are very motivated and they kind of view the weather as something like, we're going to do it. But I do think overall it will affect the caucus. I mean, there was 186,000 people in 2016. A lot of people thought it would be less this year anyways. Mm-hmm. But then I think with the weather, it likely will be less than that.
And so for caucus goers who might be, one of my aunts might be 75, 80 years old, you've got the structure so that your people will drive that person to the caucus location. They don't have to worry about being out on a gravel road.
And families can bring kids. Yeah. There's kids taken care of while they're caucusing. All that stuff is ready to go.
Okay. One of the things I've heard from people here in Iowa, in fact, I think it's universal. They'll go, because I ask every person, "So who do you like?" And they go, "Well, I like Trump." But, and then they explain it. And you probably heard the same thing during your tour of all 99 counties.
Yeah, I mean, look, there'll be people that come to our events. They know Trump, and they liked a lot of his policies. I go make the case, and when they hear from us, a lot of times they come on board with us. And so that's why we went to all these counties. That's why I think we planted a lot of good seeds. And I said from the beginning when we were doing this, I'm like, this comes to fruition really on caucus night. Right. Because people will go there. They may be conflicted. We'll have someone give a speech, and they'll say, "You know what? The governor came. He came to my county, or I remember him showing up." And that's where it all matters. And so I think we did it right. And, we worked harder than anybody to be able to do this. And the thing is, these folks here in Iowa, I mean, they're good, God-fearing, hardworking people. They're patriotic. They want to see this country turned around. And they're very passionate about the country's going in the wrong direction. And let's reverse this trend.
Right. As we heard from Lawrence at the diner a couple of minutes ago, there are still a lot of people who are undecided. And they're waiting to hear from you guys today. And thank you very much for being on our show, but also your surrogates at all these events as well. It's very important because they could make or break a campaign.
You have people it's a process. You have people at these caucus sites that will be lobbying for votes. And so we've obviously organized all the sites. We have over 1,700 precinct captains that are there. And so you think if all of them end up flipping 3 or 4 votes at each, then that starts to be real significant. And we have that infrastructure in place. Obviously, Trump is a known commodity.
Sure.
I haven't seen that from any other candidate.
I understand your campaign has, and you've heard from Republicans who have publicly endorsed Donald Trump. And they go, "Yeah, I did that, but I'm going to vote for you."
Well, the thing is I think he puts a lot of pressure on these guys to do. It's like
it's politics.
You got to endorse or else. And so some of them do that because they think it's a path of least resistance. But I think the reality is I'm endorsed by Governor Reynolds here, who's done a fantastic job. Trump came in yesterday to Iowa. He started attacking Governor Reynolds. And here's the thing. Even some of his strongest supporters they appreciate what Governor Reynolds did. And so I think
she's very popular.
It's just, how do you do it? Like, for me, it's like, we're all Republicans. I want all Republicans to do well. There's a Republican governor that's endorsed another candidate, but they're doing well. I'm not going to trash them. I'm glad that they're doing it. I think every Republican should look at Governor Reynolds and say, you know what?
Sure.
She's getting the job done. And I think with Trump, that's not how he sees it. It's she didn't endorse him, so then he trashes her. But you can't build a movement like that. I mean, you've got to have, a strong tent, and you got to have anyone that's pulling in the right direction. They need to be supported. So I'm glad that she's supporting me, and I think it's going to make a difference. I mean, you talk about these speeches at the caucus sites. Governor Reynolds has said that I'm one of the most effective leaders she's ever seen, and that's going to matter for these folks.
She loves what you've done in Florida. Let me ask you about this. Well, we know that the former president threw Vivek under the bus as well when he was hitting her as well. What does tonight look like? What is a win for Ron DeSantis?
Look, I always like being the underdog. I mean, that's been true.
Okay, you're the underdog. You're the underdog.
So I think we've done it right here. I think you're going to see that tonight. I think people are going to say, you know what, this guy did a good job. And I've been up against a lot. I mean, I've had more money spent against me than Biden and Trump combined. I mean, almost $50 million now. Obviously we knew media would be against us. So we've had a lot of things to contend with, and we just kept our head down. We showed up. We made the case. And I think you're going to see good results from there.
You're trying to get out the vote. I'll give you 20 seconds. Look right at that camera. Tell the people of Iowa why they should vote for you.
Well, Donald Trump's running for his issues. Nikki Haley's running for the donors' issues. I'm running for your issues, your family's issues, and solely to turn this country around. The only one that's delivered on 100% of his promises, and I'm the only one running who has beaten the Democrats and the left time and time again. We need to win again as Republicans. That's how you turn this country around.
All right. Governor DeSantis, thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
I know you've got 300 places to go. Thank you very much.